Hi again. In the past I've reviewed several of the books by Jack Carr with his Reese character, and also the TV series of The Terminal List based on the first book. Today I'm going to review the prequel to Terminal List, which is Terminal List Dark Wolf, which is not based on one of Jack Carr's books, but has been filmed by the same production team that he worked with previously, and with a lot of input from Jack Carr. The series starts with a SEAL team in Iraq fighting ISIS, and we meet Ben Edwards, who is the chief petty officer of the team and was previously a character in the Terminal List. He's played by Taylor Kitsch. Now, I first remember him from a movie which was a very good film based on one of Don Winslow's books, but it seemed to have sort of slipped by. It's kind of a hidden gem, and it's called Savages. Then he was in one of the series of True Detective, where he played a police officer with former military experience, and the small group he's with who are investigating a particular crime get ambushed by the cartel, and after it's all over, it's a real serious gunfight. One of the team says to one of the others about the Taylor Kitsch character, he's the god of war, and he is very much the god of war in this series too. And Taylor Kitsch, a really good actor, and most recently he was in American Primeval, terrific series, and his performance was really superb, and he brings a lot of depth to the character. And the character he's playing, Ben Edwards, is a total professional with weapons and tactics, as befits somebody who is a senior petty officer with bags of experience during that time frame, all the deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan. The platoon is led by Rafe Hastings, who's a former Rhodesian, played by Tom Hopper, who I've never seen before, but he's impressive, both physically and also as an actor. He has got the Rhodesian accent off pretty well, with the exception of pronouncing the name of one. They're talking about which are the best tasting antelopes and to eat. And they mentioned kudu, which is really delicious, and some others. And Rafe mentions he mispronounces Hemsbach. So Rafe is also a character from the Terminal List books, whose father had served in Salute Scouts, and there's quite a bit of him in the second book onwards, and Jack Carr has really researched and delved into that period of history. He's obviously fascinated with it, and he talks about it or describes it very, very well in the book. So during the first episode, the platoon is tasked with a prisoner swap with ISIS on a bridge, and it all goes sideways, it all goes wrong, and it's a bit of a disaster because they've more or less been set up, and their main target was a terrorist leader, Hamid al-Jabouri, and following this, there's then an attack, a green on blue attack on their base by one of the former partner force guys who has been pressured into being a proxy suicide bomber due to threats against his wife and daughters. So the platoon work out who's responsible, and it's this Al Jabouri, and decide to go after him, but they're being restricted all the time, and then they work out that he's really a CIA asset. But they're so incensed by his actions, they unilaterally, while they're out on a mission, they divert and attack his stronghold. And while in there, for reasons that I won't go into, but are part of the plot, Ben is so enraged with him that he kills him out of hand. And there's some attempt to cover it up by his comrades, but he says no, he's going to face the music. And at the end of the day, both him and Rafe carry the can, and they're stripped of their tridents. So it doesn't really say what their future would be, whether they could stay in naval special warfare in sort of a desk or back room capacity, or they go to the fleet, or they're thrown out completely. But anyway, they have to leave the area, and they're flying back to the United States via Frankfurt. And you see them in Frankfurt Airport, which caused me to sort of look askance at it, because I've spent a lot of time in Frankfurt Airport, and it obviously wasn't that. And it turns out that actually most of the European locations were in Eastern Europe, doubling for Germany and Switzerland. However, it comes across very, very well, still good European locations, and it's a big change from the days in the past when such series were all filmed around Burbank, which had to double for anywhere from Afghanistan to Paris. So the location, it's very, very professionally, production values are very high. So they decide to book into a decent hotel and drown their sorrows. And while they're there, they're tapped on the shoulder by a gent who basically sets out his stall to recruit them. He is a CIA officer, and he's running an op, and it involves the guy who was the arms dealer involved back in Iraq that they were going after. And I'll just Norway, his name is. They're going after this to Norway, and they've got scores to settle with him, so they're hooked on that. And the CIA officer, Jed Haverford, is played by Robert Wisdom, and he's an actor that I first remember from an episode of NYPD Blue, and then more comprehensively he was in I think series 3 of The Wire. Terrific actor, always brings a lot of weight to the part, and very convincing in this particular role. One of the things he does is Jack Carr is very much into detail of personal kit and the right equipment for the time and place of his narrative. And one of the things Haverford does is tell Ben and Rafe to re-equip, go into town shopping, get rid of their SEAL team watches, the G-Shocks and so on, and their ballistic eye protection, and equip themselves with more Gucci kit to fit in with the urban covert operation role that they're now being involved in. And this kind of reminded me of something. One of the guys, when we were teaching in South Africa, he'd been on some of our courses, and he got a position as a personal bodyguard to a very wealthy businessman. And Mark turned up in his all suited and booted in his best kit, and the businessman had a look at his watch and said, "Oh no, that doesn't do." And Mark was wearing an Omega Seamaster, which is really decent watch, and he's give him a credit card and sent him out to buy something a lot more fitting to the more lifestyle, and so I think he got a Patek Philippe or something like that fitted in more. Other members of the team include Mo, who the guys knew from Iraq. He had been a member of the partner force, been trained by them. He was Iraqi Special Forces, and his language capabilities and the fact that he could fit in to the target environment very well made him a real asset. But the operation is co-run with Mossad in the shape of two females, Eliza, who is a highly trained operator, and Tal, who specializes in cyber espionage, controlling the digital and online platforms. So we're now into classic spy drama in an urban environment, with the action switching from hotels to nightclubs to the subway, traveling to different parts, Switzerland, Germany, and so on. And what they are trying to do is interrupt the supply chain for the Iraqi nuclear program. They have located somebody who was willing to supply them with gyros to spin the centrifuges, bearings to spin the centrifuges at very, very high speeds. And what they planned to do was interdict the chain and supply their own bearings, which would disintegrate and cripple the Iraqi nuclear program, much in the way that the Stuxnet virus did in a digital way, but this was going to be done with hardware. So they're engaged in a surveillance op, and there's a surveillance on a surveillance or a counter surveillance on them, and one of the team is killed, and in the subway, and Ben gets onto the trail of the killer, follows him onto a subway train, gets Tal to take down the CCTV, and then shoots him, takes a photo of him, and makes it back to their operating base, and they use facial recognition software and find out that the people there that have been attacking them are part of the Khalid network, which is a freelance group who supply terrorists with hardware and technology. So that's the people that they are going to imitate. There are many plot twists and turns. Loyalties are questioned. Ben doesn't know who to trust, and it gets very, very messy. There's a lot of action, a lot of ambushes, a lot of room combat, a lot of one-on-one gunfighting, a lot of team-on-team gunfighting, vehicle ambush. There's unarmed combat, There's edge weapons, deployment even of a tomahawk in one bit, which kind of harks back or forward, if you want, to the terminal list. It's one of Jack Carr's specialties. His logo is, two crossed tomahawks. And it's all done very, very well. The weapons handling is very good. They've got top-notch technical advisors who are part of the production team, whose background was in SEALs and so on, and it's all done very, very well. I don't want to spoil anything, but we obviously know from the terminal list that Ben does survive, and we know that he has previous experience in the CIA. So all in all, it's very exciting and a very, very well produced show, and very good performances by everyone. I really, really enjoyed it. It's something really to look forward to, because there is there are plans for another series, at least one more. And I've got to give a lot of credit to Taylor Kitsch, because he is the main star of the series, and he does it very, very well. He's very convincing in the part, and he's top-notch actor, and he brings a lot to it. So so that's something to look forward to. And meanwhile, we have the second series of the Terminal List, based on the book Second Son, which is coming in the very near future. So really, it's happy days.